Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with the very first ever Start with Sam series workshop here. Today, specifically, we're going to be rebuilding the Headspace voice app in Voiceflow. So first off, a big welcome to anyone in the chat. If you're watching this live, if you're watching it after the fact, also welcome to Start with Sam. We have people here who have maybe never used Voiceflow before, people who are new to the tool. We might have people who have built a couple projects, but now we're excited to use some templates and continue to grow in that realm. Or people who have never even heard of conversation design. Welcome to you too. We're very excited to have everyone here today. As a reminder, before we get started, or maybe as a new piece of information, if you're new to the Voiceflow community, be sure to follow us on Twitter at VoiceflowHQ. You can ask us questions there. You can send us a tweet during or after the presentation if you're watching and following along. Also, you can find this workshop on YouTube after the fact. Just search Voiceflow. We have so many videos there on tutorials and templates and pretty much anything you'd want to know about the tool. Lastly, this workshop might be a little bit different than ones you've been to, other webinars or even Voiceflow in the past. We really want to encourage people to follow along and actually build in the tool with me. If that's on your desktop app, your browser, either way, we really encourage you to really build along and practice those skills and flex those conversation design muscles as we go. We think that'll be a really good opportunity to build along and start your conversation design journey. So this is a great time to log into the tool Voiceflow now as we give a little intro, and we'll be jumping into the tool very shortly. So first up, hello. Hopefully you would have guessed I am Sam, your host and the host of Start with Sam. I'm a growth manager at Voiceflow. You can tweet me. You can follow me at @theBurnsE9 on Twitter. Or send me a message, an email via email at sam.burns@voiceflow.com anytime. I'm always happy to answer any questions there. A little bit of background on myself and what this series is. I'm 6 months new to Voiceflow, about a year into conversation design in general. And I came from more of a marketing background in finance and travel and such, for a variety of industries. And coming into this space and in a very innovative conversational AI space, I realized a lot of these things can be applied to other industries, right? Whether that's your personal life, like we're doing today, building a meditation app, or whether that's your business and you want to add an assistant for your mom and pop shop down the road, or your enterprise design team on the coast, wherever that is. Conversational AI can really be applied in any realm. And I'm excited for this series to really tackle some of those starter topics where we can dive in and really apply conversational AI to your day-to-day life or your professional life too. So in the chat, I'd really like you to right now, if you can, raise your hand, drop an emoji maybe, or just drop a note if this is your first ever time in Voiceflow. I'm really curious if this is anyone's first ever time using Voiceflow. Take a quick look at the chat here. Okay, so no real first ever. Okay, that works. What about maybe if drop an emoji if maybe this is your one of the first times or one of your first projects that you've built using Voiceflow. Would love to see a hand there. Okay. Perfect. So we do have some people who are starting their journey, or I get a totally unfamiliar, totally fine. That's what this is for, right? We want people who are maybe just trying to expand their horizons with some different templates, or who've never touched the tool before, right? We're going to help everyone today with a starter series. More than anything, Voiceflow is an incredibly simple and intuitive way to design, prototype, and launch conversation experiences across voice and chat channels. Here's a quick snapshot of the Voiceflow tool. If you're a little bit seasoned with Voiceflow, this might look newer, right? The updated navigation and user interface is incredibly fresh and nice now in the tool. We've really made it easy to work from teams to indie designers, really across multimodal experiences, and all the markup you see here, it makes it incredibly easy to label your projects and work in the templates that we're going to be working in very shortly here. But today, the star of the show, we'll jump right in as we only have about 30 minutes or less as we want to start quick and start fast within this series. We're going to rebuild the Headspace meditation app in Voiceflow in a very starter, simple way. So what I'm going to do now, as I switch screens, I'm going to drop a link in the chat here that will hopefully make it very easy to jump into the tool. So hold on one second here as I grab this. We're going to grab this. So we're going to start in more of a general way here and just start with a blank canvas. So I'm just going to drop the just a get started link. So whether you have an account or you don't yet, use this link. You can hop into the tool and we'll just start on a blank canvas project here as I pull up this starter one. Great. So hopefully everyone can see the blank canvas I have here in this starter canvas. We'll also jump into more of a little bit more complex template project that I'll leave you guys with as we depart here. But I want to give a quick overview of the canvas. And mainly what we're looking at here is, if you're new to Canvas, I know I saw a totally unfamiliar, maybe a slightly newer user here. I think the big thing that we want to focus on here is the canvas and those starter building blocks of Voiceflow. So let's look on the left here. We got response and user input sections, right? So in conversational AI, we're having conversation between two people, or in this scenario, person and an artificial intelligent assistant, right? So the response section is going to be any block, any response that the assistant can give or share with the user, right? The assistant can speak, the assistant can share audio in like an MP3 file, or the assistant can share a visual, right? So we can drag those out, right? Like a JPEG or a GIF, for example, right? We can upload those here. An audio block, right? We can drag and drop an MP3 audio file. The speak block, right? We can have the assistant read or say or give a text of something that we program it to say. So there we look at some things the assistant can say. But let's look at so that's the artificial intelligence side of it. But if we go on to the user side of it, right, we need the human to have a way to input back as part of their conversation. So there we have the choice block, right? We can look at different paths, right? Yes, no, or I'd like to order, start a return, or I'd like to know more about store hours, those 3 different paths. Or we're looking at the prompts, right? An open-ended prompt. What do you want to do today? Or how are you feeling today, right? That's a long list of items that the user can then have a very natural conversation with. And lastly, a little bit more advanced, something we'll touch on just slightly today would be the intent block, right? So the prompt block asks a larger question that is listening for the user, but the intent block actually goes in and says, well, what is the actual intent, right? Is it happy? Is it sad? Is it course 77? Is it a hamburger and fries? Or is it is it the order for lunch? Whatever that intent is, that's what we're using to input the user's intents, the user's utterances. So that's a very starter overview of the canvas. But mainly, I want to also reiterate that we have tutorials on all of these things on our YouTube channel that you can dive into really all of these blocks. But for today, let's build a very basic wireframe look at what a Headspace meditation type conversation could look like in Voiceflow. And then we'll actually jump into the template, which will make it very easy to actually go through. And even as soon as today or after this presentation, you could actually launch your own, right? So let's say we're starting a meditation app, right? And in this experience, we want the user to be greeted, a welcome message, right? So in this welcome message, for example, we're going to, hey, hold on one second. I'm actually going to, got a comment that it's a little bit blurry here. So I'm going to reshare real quickly to make sure everyone can see this. Optimize it for video. We'll jump back in here. Hopefully that's a little bit better. And okay, hopefully Zoom is being easy on us today. But let's if you have any issues, we'll make sure this is also published after the fact, and people can jump in. Oh, I saw someone said it was a little bit better there for us, so that's good. Okay, so we're on this welcome message, right? So when you're starting an assistant, or excuse me, a meditation app, we need, you know, easy, welcoming words. So we're going to say, welcome to my meditation experience. Here you can learn to be more mindful, right? Something nice and easy. That's the first thing they'll hear. And now we're going to drag another speak block. The next thing someone will say. So now that, you know, we've welcomed them in a very simple setup, let's talk about what kind of courses we could offer, right? You can pick from 3 different courses. Would you like course 1, 2, or 3, right? So at this point, right, we've said hello to the user, and then we've also gone a step further and let them know the menu of items, right? And for some people who are brand new to Voiceflow, let's keep this incredibly simple, right? We're going to use this choice block here. This choice block, right? Now we're going to connect this. So now we're following the path. This is next. And this, let's just call this the menu of courses to keep it very simple. So now, right, we have 3 courses for this. We'll say course, you know, this is going to be course 1. We're going to add another path and say this is course 2, and add another path. We're going to say this is course 3, right? So we have the 3 courses. Now, as we saw here, and happily Voiceflow is always going to be on it for us, we have courses that the user can pick from, but the assistant doesn't know what to listen for. They cannot, the computer cannot link what the user is saying to what to actually give them. So now let's put in the utterance, or what a user might say. Let's say this is, if they say course 1, oh, not just, let's say 1, that would be for that. For course 2, we'll say course 2 or 2. And then for course 3, we'll say course 3 or 3. So very simple. We have 3 different paths, a user, 3 different choices or paths, and then the different things that a user would say to trigger that specific path. So for the sake of this, and keeping it short on time to you know, really start fast here, let's hop over here. So let's build out course 1, right? So let's hop over, and we're going to say this is going to be course number 1. So let's drag this. Let's just say, okay, we're going to build out what course number 1 would look like, right? So let's say you're using this on like a multimodal device, which would be like visuals and sounds, or visuals and copy, right? Let's like an Alexa show, for example, or a mobile device. Let's go in and actually add a visual, right, to make it a little bit easier to understand. So let's add like a calm C visual. That's pretty relaxing. Oh yeah, see, I'm already more relaxed. That's good. Right now it's auto fit, but let's say we're designing this for a desktop, right? We build this in on Voiceflow to make it incredibly easy on designers. Let's go in and click desktop, right? So now it's fit for a desktop device. So that'll be the first thing that someone sees. And now let's drag a speak block over here. What do we want to say? Let's say, welcome to course 1. Welcome to course 1. Perfect. Welcome to course 1. And then this is where you can have some fun with the audio block, right? And although we won't do it right now today by recording and editing, what you can do is there's so many free softwares that you can actually record your own meditation soundtracks or your own MP3s. Or you can, let's say, download from someone else that you buy, or you could record it and monetize it as your own skill, right? And create different different meditation experiences that you have hosted on Alexa, for example. But for the sake of today, let's use our good friend and my coworker's Mark. Mark's own MP3 that he's already recorded for us as part of the template. It just so happens he has an amazing VO voice, so it'll sound pretty good too, unlike my own. So let's say, okay, this is course one, right? Welcome to course one. And then the assistant will go to start playing the meditation MP3 sound, right? And the nice thing is, if you are monetizing this, let's say as your own Alexa meditation experience, for example, you could come in here and switch out the MP3s or use our integrations to link it to your own RSS feed and have different MP3s for each day, right? It's so plug and play and customizable depending on the use case that you need it for. So let's take a quick little test and see how we did so far, and let's see here.
Welcome to my meditation experience. Here you can learn to be more mindful. You can pick from 3 different courses. Would you like course 1, 2, or 3?
Let's say we only built course 1, so let's click course 1.
Welcome to course 1.
Hello, my name is Mark, and my mission is to bring meditation to millions of people around the world.
Beautiful. And I was not lying, Mark's voice is perfect for meditation. So that's just a placeholder for now. But as you can see, this is the very basic wireframe of what you can do for a meditation app before we hop in the little bit more advanced template. Obviously, on here, you would build out the other courses. You would ask questions after the course is done, whether to be ending or to loop back. But either way, this is an incredibly starter wireframe project. But now let's have a little fun, and I'm going to drop a new link here in the chat, if I can find the chat here. And I'm going to drop it here. This is I got a question if someone if we can show the course choices again, I will do that. I'll also drop this link. This is a link to the template. It'll be a copy of the Headspace template as well that you can hop in. But yeah, so for the person who did ask, let me show you that real quickly. So the menu of courses, I think that was the big question here. So on here we have the choice block that we use. So on the choice block, it's a very kind of like rote menu system, right? So you're hopping into the course and you're giving the user a finite list of choices, right? And each of those choices will be linked to content, right? So for course 2, we build that out down here, for example, and we'd say, okay, this is course 2, and now we're going to have content built out. Unlike maybe the intents that I mentioned or the prompts, that's more open-ended. We still have to build that out. But in this scenario, we just have 1, 2, or 3. So then when someone would go through to pick, as I selected 1, if you saw on the blue chips there, it goes in, we'd say we're going to select course 1 specifically. Course 1 takes us to the course 1 block. Okay, so I just dropped that link there. So in the chat, if you want to go and click that, it should open up a template project. And the templates are something that look a little bit more complex than what we just looked at, right? And that's, I'm not going to deny that. But what you're looking at is a fully flushed out headspace meditation, or in this scenario, a custom audio experience that we're using as a meditation experience. So as you can see here, I've actually, it's not the same project. We're not all in this together. But what I've done is I've gone in and created actually a few gaps, right? A few errors in the one that you're looking at. So what I'm going to do is, where you see on my screen, there is the green blocks here that I have that on your screen in the template are filled in, right? But what I'm going to do, for the sake of learning and starting, we're going to quickly rebuild a few of these just to show you a few other opportunities within the tool before we wrap up here in about 10 to 15 minutes. So as we looked before, we have a starter option or a starter block, right? This is where the experience is going to start no matter what. A little bit of an advanced functionality here. We have a block that is an if, a logic block, an if condition. So here, all we're doing is, let's say we're monetizing this, right? And we're having, reoccurring people who want you, ideally, come back every day to try the meditation and use your skill every day. So let's say if their session, right? The number of sessions they've tried your skill. We're going to come in and we're going to say, if the session is 0, right? It's the first time they've ever tried it. We're going to send them, as you see here, to this new user flow. But if it is anything else, right? 1, 1,000, 200, we're going to send them to the returning user flow. If you're using the same app every day, you don't want to get the same welcome message and the intro and let me tell you all about this application, right? You want to cut right to the chase. So here I've made a little bit of change in this green block area here using Canvas markup. Let's take a look at, as we personalize the new user, we see that we have a visual block like we did in the one we just built. So we're going to click into the image block here, and we're going to let's upload an image to welcome the user and make it similar to the returning user message, but really set that multimodal tone from the start. Right. So let's take a quick listen to this and see how things are going.
Welcome to Sky, a meditation experience to help ease the mind. My name is Sally and I'll be your virtual meditation assistant. Let me introduce you to your teacher. Say hello to Mark.
Wonderful. So I felt like Sally talked a little quick, right? And although her voice is this assistant's voice that you can toggle right here across all of the different processing systems and all the different nationalities and backgrounds and languages, Sally is talking a little quickly. So let's add an effect here, and let's make it a little slower, right? I think that'll set the tone a little bit more, especially for a new user. So let's listen to it now. Let's see how we're doing.
Welcome to Sky, a meditation experience to help ease the mind. My name.
Okay, so that was already a little slower. I felt a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more at ease. I don't want a harsh, quick talking, non-human sounding assistant when I'm trying to meditate. So that's a great way as a conversation designer, especially starting out where you're bringing your own personal experience to make sure the assistant fits the tonality of the experience that you're creating, right? So as we did in our quick wireframe example, as we go down here, we're going to introduce the new user to Mark. This is not what Mark looks like on the Voiceflow team, if anyone knows him, but a great placeholder for an image if you want to introduce your meditation leader, for example. But here, let's fill in this audio block with that same audio block from before. As it uploads there, perfect. Let's take a quick listen to make sure it makes sense.
Hello, my name is Mark, and
now Mark can introduce himself. Perfect. So as we look, let's take a quick look as we go. We're working left to right here. So let's say, for example, someone's a new user. I got a few more chat messages to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, if you're having any trouble with the quality, I will reshare one more time just to make sure we're not having any issues with streaming on my end. Perfect. Okay, awesome. So we're back in, and again, we'll have a recording after the fact that you can dive in. So now we met Mark. Mark's a great guy. He's calmed us down. We're ready to meditate. So let's follow this path, right? When all else fails, just pop in here, and we're following this line. So let's zoom in. Now we're going to that same menu that we've created, and on the wireframe example, and now we're saying, okay, so you can select it in one of 3 ways, right? We can list the catalog for you, we can randomly pick a course, or we can match a course to your mood. So unlike the choice steps where it's very rote, right? Here are the 3 things, this is all. Now we're going to start listening for an intent, right? So now the assistant just turns into a listener, and we're going to go in and we're going to say, do you want to look at the intents here, right? We can select mood, we can list a catalog, or random course. We've created each of those intents for you here. If we click in, for example, as we looked at before, we have those utterances already built out, right? Pick a course randomly, randomly pick a course, randomly pick anything someone could say to trigger that menu, trigger that intent, excuse me. So let's, for the sake of time, let's jump into this random section here, right? So now we don't need to draw a line, right? Because it's just an intent. We can trigger this prompt at any time they're listening for an intent. But as we hop down here, we say, okay, you've asked for a random course. Let's randomize for you. But the problem is where we go to randomize is blank right now. So let's jump in and actually create that for a kind of a level, I would call it maybe 1.2 in terms of starting. So let's drag this random block. We make it super easy. You don't have to code anything. You don't have to go from scratch. We'll call it random, right? So we know that we need this to go to the random block, right? We go from here to the random block. But the problem is we have 3 different courses over here that you can pick from, but we only have 2 paths. That won't work. So let's hop in and we're going to add a path, right? Boom. Number 3 hops right in there. Pretty easy, but we're not done yet. Let's take a quick look at this no duplicates, right? Let's say someone is going to do 2 or 3 of the meditations in a day. When they go to say random, you don't want to have to get served course 1 7 times in a row, right? So let's say you can, let's click the no duplicates here. Now, when someone goes through and clicks says random, they will not be served the same course multiple times in a row. So let's zoom in a little bit. We're gonna now connect this random to say path 1 takes us to course. Path 1 takes us to course 1. Oh, it's not gonna be easy. I'm gonna use it. To course 1, course 2 takes us to course 2, or excuse me, path 2 takes us to course 2, and path 3 takes us to course 3. Wonderful. So let's say when someone would get to this random step.
Welcome to course 1.
Perfect. It randomized and took us right to course 1. Okay. So now let's go to this last problem area in this template. We'll build a restart loop, right? So we're going to make it, let's say we're going to use a choice block, and we're going to ask with a speak block first. Say, would you like to do another course, right? Because when someone's done with the course here, we're going to take them to this block here all the way. Perfect. And now we're going to give the user a choice. Yes, I'd like to do another one, or no, I am done, right? And if no, we'll take them down to the exit. But if yes, now we get to do a little bit of a runaround here all the way back to the beginning. So let's have a little fun with drawing this all the way back to this first block, right? And now we'll zoom in a little bit, and we can move this line all the way down, all the way over to make it a little bit clearer. So now we can follow where it goes. So if yes, we'll go all the way back to this starter block. Wonderful. So this was this template, which probably and hopefully most of you are looking at your end, now should look pretty similar to the template that you have on your end. We fixed a few of the problem areas, and the best part is you don't have to start from scratch like we did at the beginning. You can use this template to go in and switch out the images, change the MP3 or the audio. You could go here and add courses. You could add a 4th course, for example, right? And add a 4th path here. And all of this is incredibly easily customizable and ready to jump in. So we know this was a very quick starter episode. But we know that the templates and the tutorials that we have are ready to kind of take you from this 1.2, 1.3 to that 2.0 level with these templates. These templates are a great place to start. And if you have any questions, we're always there across social media. In the tool, you can always send us a message and we're ready to help. Lastly, as I mentioned, this is the first of the Start with Sam series. Excited to do many more of these from a beginner's perspective. If this was helpful, I'm so excited. We already had some feedback in the chat. I want to hear what helped, what worked. Do we want to start just from scratch? Do we want to jump into templates more? Happy to really customize this to people who are newer in the space. And please follow along at voiceflow.com/events for each of the new Start with Sam series, and bring a friend next time, maybe someone who's never even tried conversation design. Excited to bring people into the space who maybe don't think that they need a voice or a chat experience, but actually could pretty easily, pretty quickly create their own project, their own prototype using Voiceflow.